Everybody, this is Martin John, and I am here to present Tao of the Day. What is Tao of the Day? Well, if you're familiar with the Tao Te Ching, which is an ancient text written about 600 BCE, presumably by a guy Lao Tzu, then you will know that it is full of wisdom and insight on how we can live a more reasonable life. I was just talking to someone on my ride from the airport as I'm spending time at my sister's house. What does it mean to live a reasonable life? It means that we can allow others to live the way they want to live, so that we are not burdened by their choices. Sometimes people choose to do things that are, good or bad, or we're in alignment with or out of alignment with. And when we recognize that, we can often find ourselves derailed. And so living a reasonable life means I live my life reasonably, meaning I live my life in accordance with my life. And you are going to do things that you do. And I understand that those are my experiences of you doing things and not my responsibility to do things. It's just my responsibility to have those experiences and to learn about my experience. And that's what I look at when I talk about the idea of like living a reasonable life. And that's how the Tao kind of frames a lot of things. It's like, how are you going to be you in this life? Rather than you, as I would say, living under the influence, right? So I have 22 years clean and sober, and a large aspect of me being able to do that is because I live in accordance with, and I have constantly growing in my relationship with Tao. So, what is your Tao for the day? I would invite you to come up and pick a number between 1 and 81, and then we will read your Tao for the day. And then this is just about like, where can you put your attention and how can you address things in your life that are happening right now? 90% of the time, if not more, people who come up and pick a number have a lesson in the text that the Tao has written. How does that possible? Well, the Tao Te Ching, once again, is a ancient text. It's been with us as a species for a long time, and you are connected to it, whether you know it or not. And so we're going to bring up, Ad Emina. We are going to chat a little bit about the Tao. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you today?
Hey, good morning,
It's
Martin.
been a
How are
while.
you?
How's it going?
I know it's been a while. I mean, we haven't spoken since I think it was November.
It might have been, yeah. It's been a
Yeah.
minute, but I'm glad to see you.
Yes, I know. But I kept you in mind and all of your beautiful work and sharing you do here. So thank you again for continuing to do that and being so steady. And I had this conversation with somebody yesterday who was doing the thanks for this year, and this is definitely one of them. People like you who are doing the work consistently and showing up, and that's definitely an inspiration for me. So thank you.
Oh, I appreciate that. Absolutely. It is a pleasure to do the work I do, I'm just, I want everybody to do what they do. Like that's such a gift for me to hear, because like I want people to be inspired to do what they do. Not do what I do or in the way I do it, but do what you do. And you'll always be guided to what you do, and you'll always come back to it, and it's such a beautiful experience to be alive and just doing what we do and being who we are.
Yeah, and I want to thank you also because since I don't know how many months or years you've been doing this with the DAO, but thanks to you, I actually got my own version of the DAO. I ordered myself a book several months ago, and I've been completely. I mean, if you saw the book right now, it's completely destroyed because I've opened all the pages. God knows how many times I opened it at the beach. I opened it. I mean,
Yeah.
everywhere. It's dirty. It's been used. It's been
Beautiful. That's
already.
that's
And
how it should be. That's how it should be. It should
yeah,
draw you to it. What whose translation?
it's by Mark Molinax.
Mullinex. Okay. Okay. I haven't read a lot of that version, but I there is that is a version that I've come across. So
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 I'll
well,
tell you.
let's pick a number, and then I'll read you my translation, and then we can even compare it to the translation that you have.
Sure. So I've been seeing double digit numbers
Mm-hmm.
for I mean a long time now, and so I thought of seven. Seven is my lucky number, so why don't we do 77?
Okay. 77, I entitled The Bending of a Bow. Tao acts on the world as the bending of a bow. The top is forced down when the bottom is moved up. It is impossible for one to act without the other responding. Unlike men, Tao is patient and neutral, quietly adjusting excess and deficiencies, taking from what is too much and giving to what isn't enough. Ordinary men go against Tao, taking resources from the areas that are deficient, giving resources to the areas that compulsively consume. The master knows all things are being adjusted, although she cannot always see it in action. She has faith it is working through her. In this way, she allows her actions to unfold, neither dwelling on them nor taking credit. Aligned with Tao, they complement all things.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, this is kind of, it reminds me of, I had this astrologer that said to me something on the lines of, the ones who, when you want less, you receive more. And
Yeah.
for some reason, when you're talking to me about bending and bringing the top down and the bottom up, for some reason it makes me think of that analogy, of that saying.
You know, there's an interesting aspect to this translation and this and looking at this for me, where there is this, we can't see it in action, right? This line, the master knows that all things are being adjusted. Although she cannot always see it in action, she has faith that it is working through her. And that's such an important thing, right? Like when we look out at the world and we see something out of balance, we might strive to put it into balance.
And to
And
make
that,
something happen.
yeah, to make it better. I want to fix the world. I want to fix this problem. I want to do something about this. But the master knows that all things are being adjusted anyway. And she has faith that her actions, although she's not actively going out and doing things, that every action she takes, because she is part of Tao, she has faith that it is working through her and that those changes are happening naturally through her.
Yeah, so you said two things in there. So it's faith and surrender, basically.
Beautifully. Yeah. Right.
And surrender
Faith in the
comes
fact that
back
things are
again.
adjusting, and surrender that your actions will be in accordance with that.
Correct. That's very much faith and surrender is something that Tao teaches throughout
Yeah.
throughout its pages, and it's disguised in so many ways, but that's always kind of the reflecting message is uh, one for one, right? An eye for an eye. You get something done, but how is it you, and how is it what you've been produced to do? How would I say that?
Inspired.
Inspired to do. Yes. Sorry, my English in the morning like that
No,
getting
absolutely.
is getting.
Absolutely. Like we're,
But
like I speak Spanish as well, and I talk to a lot of individuals throughout the Spanish speaking world to help me with my conversational Spanish and things like this, like filling in a word or kind of coming up, like that's something that's very common for me. So don't no need to apologize.
oh, thank you so much. It's not. I speak great English. It's just
You do, yeah.
when I get into the position of getting channeling something. Sometimes it comes in French, and actually most of the time,
Mm,
because I don't know the meaning of mother tongue, but it goes back to your core, to your heart, and so
yeah.
it happens to be sometimes the language where things show up. But yeah,
Oh, it's
do
beautiful.
you want me to read the 77th of
I would
the?
I would love that. Yeah.
Because it's nice to compare because the message is the same, obviously. So it's 77, original balance. It's not heaven's style comparable to flexing a stringed bow. When one draws the bow, the drawstring bends top down, in sync with the lifting, the bottom knock up. Nothing too tense, nothing too loose. Likewise, Tao's ever-adjusting and impartial style subtracts from privilege and adds to privation. But human beings, when forgetful of Tao, practice another Tao, empty out the poor to top off the tanks of the rich. Who
Mhm.
can integrate heaven's abundance into the world? Only those living Tao's abundance. So the sage performs her works without the prejudice that ownership triggers. Watch, without self promotion or publicity, how her excellence is in play. This is kind of what this is why I was thinking
Mm.
of the message that this astrologer was telling me. He said, "The less you want, the more you will get." That's what he was telling me. He
Yeah.
was telling me this on a specific point, and
Yeah.
this has brought that out very much.
Very
Um,
clearly.
Flexibility, surrendering, acceptance, faith. These are such important things for all of us, but it's also sometimes the hardest. And that string that's being pulled, it's very tense, and that bend requires tension. Otherwise, there is nothing to bend if there's no tension. And so it's accepting that aspect of our life, that discomfort.
Could you read the line about, oh, pardon. Can you read the line about ownership without ownership? Like that sentence.
Let's
It's near
see.
the end.
Let's see. Where is it? Promotion policy exams play. Where does it say ownership?
I
Let's see.
believe it
Okay.
did.
So the sage performs her works without the prejudice that ownership triggers.
Yeah. That was such a powerful line, right? You perform your task knowing that you don't own the action. It's not you that's doing it. It is being done and being inspired through Tao.
Yeah.
And through Tao, and this is where my translation talks about the idea of like, she has faith that it is working through her, not that she is the one doing it. She doesn't own the action. The action is inspired through her, and that is bringing everything into balance. And it's not her job to bring it into balance. Things are coming into balance through Tao naturally.
Yeah. I have a very interesting question here for you because you've been working with that a lot, and it's interesting to talk about this here because we say she all the time, and the feminine is being brought in the whole Tao. My question to you is, how do you see that as as affecting the men who read Tao and who read this passage, for instance? Do you suggest they need to tap into the feminine aspects of their being, which we all have, in order
Mhm.
to really nurture the Tao? Because this is to be nurtured, and the only nurturing part about us is our feminine side. And
Right. So yes. So this is about yin and yang, right? So yin energy is the void, is the space. Yang energy is the action. And like this verse is speaking, as this verse is speaking, it's saying your actions aren't yours, but in a masculine world, we take credit for the actions. And so I specifically chose to talk about Tao as, and the master of Tao as she, because of that connection to yin, connection to the source of void, the source of emptiness. And the source of emptiness receives everything, right? It is space that receives, it is structure that
nurtured.
creates barriers and creates and that's sort of the heart of ego is the
It,
structure.
I will add, it receives, but it holds at the same time.
Right.
As a baby in the womb of its mother,
Yes.
he's not aware of yet he's aware of that his mother exists, but he doesn't see her. He
Right.
experiences her because she's holding him. And so I also think this is why the Tao is brilliantly. I mean, it's very well chosen, obviously, to bring up the feminine here because people are not so aware of that. And I like in the work that you do, you always emphasize the way you read it, the way you bring it forward. I find it very triggering in a good way, in a good side, huh?
Hmm.
Because the emphasis on the words can change one's understanding of the message. And so yeah, that's so beautiful, and I'm glad you're doing that like that.
Oh, thank you. And it's also my, like, it's difficult because when I put emphasis on something, I am also kind of steering you in a direction. And I always, I don't want to do that, but I also do because I want you to see it within you, and not just look at one's ego. And because we're so designed to look at our structure, our ego, so we're so designed to say, this was me. And in Tao, it's like, no, it happened through me.
Yeah, and it's exactly what we're reading here. We're reading
Yep.
your action of emphasis on your way of reading. That is where you're being guided as well in a way to do
Mm-hmm.
this, to where Tao is working through you. And when we do that work, when we start to analyze, okay, what does it mean for us personally right now, for you, for the people listening, and people reading Tao in general, and how do they go around in their life and or in the world, and without prejudice that the ownership triggers. That I underlined that and circled it.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Then see what comes out of it. It's beautiful. I see I have 30 seconds left. I thank you very much for the opportunity. I think somebody
Oh.
else should come up and bring up something. Thank you again. Thank you so much. And if I don't speak to you until the new year, I wish you happy holidays and the best, the best. Continue your work. You're doing wonderful. You're helping a lot of people here, whether they realize it or not. And so,
Mm.
thank you. Thank you for the
Oh,
times.
thank you. It is, and that is well received. Thank you so much. I love you. Have a wonderful holiday, and my best to you and your family. Here's someone I haven't talked to in a little while, and I'm really grateful that you're here.
Same. First of
Kelly,
all,
how are you?
that good. That was really perfect timing. I ranted for like 2 hours last night about things through oneself and like knowing your truth through you, and then add anima was just it was a really good one to listen to. Thank you guys. I appreciate both of you.
Oh. Well, first of all, let me just take a moment and connect with you just here. I know I've texted you here and there, but I've been busy and I haven't been able to be a good friend as much as I would like to.
I
And
feel the same. Okay, good.
so I just wanna sit here quietly and just kind of be with you for a moment. You're so beautiful, and I'm really grateful to have you in my life. Thank you.
Me too. Me too.
All right, so we're here on Tao of the Day. How's your health?
Good. Passed a 5 millimeter kidney stone, even though everyone told me I had nothing wrong with me. All on my
Well, yep. That's because you are
own.
awesome. You can pass. You can
Make crystals
receive.
and then
There
pass
you
them
go.
out.
Pass them through. Like we should. Like I wonder, has anybody like taken their kidney stone and then made it a stone for a ring or something?
So many people have said that and like said like like you're into crystals like so you're just making your own. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. What happens if I hang out with my crystal for a while? Like what's gonna happen? So
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna
like you never know. Like there's a lot of energy. Like that was created in your body.
yes. I
So
birthed it
beautiful.
even. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
absolutely you
really
did.
did. Yeah,
In the most painful.
yeah, I know.
Birth is painful, whether you're masculine or feminine. Birthing something is painful.
Uh-huh.
That is true.
It's
So let's pick a
probably
number.
uncomfortable to be born as well, but it's hard
Oh
to.
yeah, no, I after the dark retreat when I came out of that space, I was that was
Mm,
so clearly birth, and it was painful.
yes, that makes so
Mm.
much sense. Okay, number um Ooh, 43.
Ooh, I was sitting here looking at 42, and I was actually going to pick this number.
So
Nope, the
close.
next one. Very close. Okay, number 43 is be silent and learn.
Oh my gosh, this already is so perfect. Go on.
The flexible will outlast the rigid. The gentle will outlast the hard. Tao has no substance, Tao, which has no substance, has penetrated all, even that which has no space to enter. Through this, I see that unforced action and silence are the only path to completeness. Action, free of expectation and desire. This is the lesson of the nature of things. Listen to your nature, be silent, and learn.
So, first of all, what I just heard is that you said Tao is actually dark matter. And then I heard, so this morning I asked Monet's 10, for those who don't know me. I asked her, Monet, how can you travel from one place to another instantly without disturbing anything? And she said, be still, be quiet. And I was like, ooh, in my head. And then I said, tell me more. And she said, it was cute. She's like, well, when I'm here and I'm like laying on the couch with my headphones on, I can hear people stomping through the house. But when they're quiet, I have to be really still and really quiet to try to hear them. If they're so quiet, they can move through the space without disturbing anything. And I was like, huh, not what I was thinking, but still so profound. And so that is that it's funny that's what come up. You know, like that's what we were
Yeah.
talking about this morning is the power of stillness and quietness and just like all the ways to see and experience it.
Well, I'm gonna utilize that, and we'll use that as a backdrop as we go through this line by line and start talking about it. So the flexible will outlast the rigid. The gentle will outlast the hard.
I think we this one is familiar, but you know, it makes me think of a hurricane, like palm trees in a
Yeah.
hurricane. Yeah.
But I mean, I even think about Monet, right? Like the answer of
Mm,
like if she's flexible, then there's an experience that is going to like
me too, though. I had no attachment to the outcome, right? Like I
right.
didn't. I just was like open to hearing whatever she said as complete, absolute, like just whatever it was. There was no need for it to be what it wasn't or anything else.
And if we approach any situation with rigidity, then it can only like that rigidity can only last so long.
Mm-hmm.
The gentle will outlast the hard. If we approach something with firm hardness and firm, like this is the way it is and that's it, well, then it will get overcome at some point.
Yeah, that's
It
true.
will get overcome because it is not allowing space
You're
for
actually calling to yourself something to overcome you at that point.
right.
Yeah.
You are inviting competition. You are inviting
Mm-hmm.
dissonance. So Tao, which has no substance, has penetrated all, even that which has no space to enter.
There's where
You
the
know,
dark matter. Yeah. Go ahead.
what's that? Go on.
Oh, that's where I thought of dark matter, like the image of something like that popped in my head.
Well, yeah, and this is the thing. Tao, which has no substance whatsoever, right? It is, and this is what at Enema and I was talking about this idea of yin energy, void, emptiness, right? Tao,
Mm-hmm.
which is emptiness, has penetrated all things. There is emptiness within everything. Within every cell, there is void. There is emptiness. There is more void than there is stuff.
Yeah.
And if there is no space to enter, there is still. And so Tao has penetrated all that, and Tao has no structure. And all of our life is as we exist in a egotistical space. We have substance. We have this identity that we hold on to. And that identity creates substance, rigidity. We hold on to an identity. We hold on to these things. But when we can get rid of that, when we get rid of the substance and just have when we get rid of the structure, when we can, Tao which has no.
I think like it for me, like what I hear or feel about it is that it's sort of like noticing that you are a unique you, but you're also part of a unique bigger thing, and like we're all deeply like embedded and connected. Like there's no
Mhm,
actual separate. I talked this morning to myself about how like it's like the greatest lie is to, well, actually, okay, to Monet and then to myself, but the greatest lie is believing you're alone because you're not.
right,
There's no the truth is you're never separate, but
right.
that's where mean comes from because that's what we're talking about is being mean.
Yeah. This is interesting. I changed the word substance to structure here. Tao which has no structure has penetrated all, even that which has no space to enter. And I changed it because substance, because we have substance without
Mhm.
structure, right?
Yeah.
Substance is something that we have, and so I changed the word substance to structure because structure is what I look at as being that masculine, while Tao has substance. Tao is only substance, but it is
Mhm.
substance without structure.
Yeah.
You know, it's structureless substance. And so I altered it there just because as I was reading it, I was like, no, that's wrong. That's not what I wanted to say. That's not what I recall it's saying. That's not what it's trying to say.
It's not what you feel is true. Yeah, through you.
Right. Through this, I see that unforced action and silence are the only path to completeness. That's again like without a plan in place, I can move
Expectation.
freely without with if as long as I'm not rigid, as long as I'm not hard, as long as I'm not holding to an identity, I can become complete. Because if I hold to an identity, what I'm doing is I'm holding things back.
When you say like, because I think about expectation, and I think that
Mm,
that's such a damaging thing. It locks you down. It
right.
messes things up for you. You don't get to experience it wholly, and like, and that is what I'm connecting to the term identity is like,
Hmm.
that your expectation of your being is locking you in
Right.
place. It's caging yourself.
And you're bringing up that word is poignant because the next line is action, free of expectation and desire. This is the lesson of the nature of things.
What about desire though? Because I think desire is not. It's isn't it good to feel not longing because that believes in lack, but to feel like, something.
So we've had this conversation about the word desire before.
Yeah,
And the reason that I want to bring it up is because desire is wanting something that isn't currently.
yeah.
And that's the problem with desire is that like we can be in this place and we can and once we have a desire, then what enters from desire is expectation. What enters from desire is pain for not receiving it or whatnot. And if you do receive it, great. But like, um, but that's a thought, right? That's a thought before a thing. And yeah, manifestation, all that kind of stuff. But those are the things of the world of
But
manifestation.
that's actually believing you have manifestation, according to what believe of it, is just knowing that you are not in lack of whatever it is that you can creatively imagine
If
to
you
exist.
could manifest anything, I believe you wouldn't manifest anything.
Exactly.
And
I know.
so that's the space that we want to get in. And that in that way you have no desire because you already know that you are full. You are complete.
It's completely true. Because like the greatest lie is to be alone. Also, to be alone means to be without, to be in lack, and to be without of, lack of something. Like lack
Yeah,
is the thing that every like hard, awful experience that we can think of comes from. Is like
that's right.
the belief in lack, the not having, the
Right.
alone, whatever all the words that connect. And I can see how like that, description of desire does totally fit in that. I'm sure
Hmm.
there's other words that we just don't have in our language.
Right.
Oh, English.
Yeah, and just language in general, I mean,
Yeah,
even the
yeah.
Tao in the first verse, we talk about the idea that words cannot express this, but we're going to do
It's
our
so
best.
true. Yeah.
And that's all we're doing. And the last line here is listen to your nature. And what is your nature? Your nature doesn't have expectation. Your nature doesn't have desire. Your nature is complete. Your nature is abundant. Your nature is all of these things. Your nature is flexible and it's gentle and it has, and you can penetrate all things without a structure, without an identity. You can be with all things. That's your nature. But then it says, listen to your nature, be silent and learn. Be quiet, quiet your mind. Learn by
I,
being here.
I sat outside for about an hour yesterday with my eyes closed. And when I thought, I was fine with it. I didn't have it, I wasn't upset if my brain, if my ideas or thoughts like became very directional. But when I released those and listened to the sounds around me and just like allow that, all these images, all these things that, feel to me like gifts of knowing things come through because I feel the birds that are like nearby in the trees that land and take off, or like an ant that crawls across me, but also sounds far away, like all this vibrational experience, and the smells become really strong. And it's it's truly like that's what I think of, like your nature and just like being still, like
Hmm.
really reaching your insides out and touching everything, like
Yeah.
a billion tentacles of just little energy, like feelers or something, to everywhere.
Action free of expectation and desire. This is the lesson of the nature of things. And you are a thing. This is the lesson of the nature of you. Action free of expectation and desire. When you take action without thinking about your specific experience,
Mhm.
so you have no expectation and no desire, you're just here,
Yeah.
that is the lesson of the nature of things. This is your lesson. Every moment that you don't have expectation, you are in class. Listen to your nature. Listen to the nature of the thing that you are.
Allow
Be
yourself to come
silent.
through you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Allow it to come through you.
yeah.
Allow
Be
flow to.
silent and learn what's capable, what you're capable of.
And even and then don't be expecting silence to be
That's
a
right.
specific way. Like just stop demanding things to go away. You have to know through you. You have to know what home is through you. It's not what other people think home is. For an example, like your picture of your drawing in kindergarten of a human, it can look like anything. It's only when the expectations you feel like you failed if it doesn't. Thank you, Martin John.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad we got to connect.
Me too, Garcia. Thank you.
Love you. Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If anybody wants to step up and pick a number between 1 and 81, I am open. But if not, I will start wrapping up. Thank you so much for joining me for Tao of the Day. If you like what I present here, I would always welcome a tip over on Venmo at martinjohn_Garcia. Anything to help me keep the lights on is always grateful. You can work with me if you are interested in recovering yourself and stop looking at the world as if it is attacking you. You are not a victim to anything. You are here to recover who you are. This is your life. And if you are living under the influence of your parents or the society that you live in or the religion that you were brought up in, well, you can get out from under that. And I would love to help guide you to that. I don't have your answers, just like the Tao. There is no answer here, but you do. You have the answer. And I would love to get you to see how beautiful you are and how powerful you are as well. Thank you so much for joining me for Tao of the Day. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.